alongside our David Griffin. He's down there. Sekou Smith is right here. We're with you until tip-off between the Mavs and Nets. Then the rest of our all-star ensemble cast will take over. Guys, we talk a lot about the top of the Eastern Conference in that playoff race and the teams that could potentially represent the East, the 4 or 5 teams that could potentially represent the East. But that race for 8th is shaping up to be a tight one. 3 total games separating the 6th to 10th spots. Who would you like to see in it?
Who would I like to see in it? Or who is going to be in it?
I'd like to know both answers.
Because I'd like to see the Miami Heat in it, because I think they're the kind of team that could cause some more problems for the teams at the top. They're a team that has battled injuries all year long, and if they're fully healthy, I think they give the first seed the best run for their money. But I think you're going to see Brooklyn be in a position where they're even potentially the 6th seed. I think they're a team that, while they have not played terribly well as Dinwiddie's come back from injury, I think they'll find their ballast a little bit, and they're more about the right things, I think, than those other teams in the mix.
I like the lineup we have right now, actually.
All right.
I think Steve Clifford is such a positive force for Orlando in terms of putting guys in the right spaces, getting the most out of some of those guys. What DJ Augustin's done has been great this year, but Vucevic, all-star season, I'd like to see him in the postseason, just to see what he could do under that kind of pressure, and for these guys to finally get this thing off their back. We know, since Dwight left, there's been no playoff bid in Orlando. This would be an opportunity for them to finally get past that and move forward.
My cat Magic is watching, and he's probably very thankful for that answer, Sekou. I don't have any bias, but he certainly does. Our Allie LaForce is in Brooklyn, and she caught up with D'Angelo Russell. Here, check it out.
All right, D'Angelo, let's start with you. You're having an outstanding season, got to play in the All-Star game, certainly the leader of this team. What has allowed you to take your game to the next level this season?
Honestly, position. This league's about situation and the position that you're given, taking advantage of it, and opportunity as well. I think like I said, we got a lot of guys over here, dwelling for an opportunity, and the successes came with that.
With success comes more recognition, not only from the fans, but from opposing teams. Have you seen big differences in the way that they are guarding you after all the success?
For sure. Teams are doing what they can, on the defensive end to game plan for us on the offensive end. But it's been fun, going in every night, trying to attack other teams' defenses, and that's what the season's about, honestly. Long season.
It is long, and a lot of injuries too. And we've been waiting for the moment that this team was fully healthy. That moment's here, but it hasn't translated to wins yet. What needs to happen to translate that health into wins? We'll
figure it out. I think it's just another opportunity for us to, figure out what adversity is coming in, and forcing other guys to step up, and it's just another situation. I think we'll be fine.
You have a stretch coming up here: Dallas tonight, then Cleveland, and then Atlanta. Those are all teams with under 500 records, winnable games. How critical is this stretch coming up?
Big must-wins for us. I think we'll be well prepared going into it, and we're healthy at that, so we'll be fine.
Okay, good luck tonight. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
As Allie pointed out, a fully healthy roster has not yet translated into wins for this Brooklyn Nets team. Their 3 consecutive losses have been by a combined 49 points. That's a lot. What's changed, though, as they're trying to reincorporate these guys?
Well, I think part of it is when you've had guys out, it's allowed other guys to step up into larger roles. So now you're trying to fit everybody into a similar space, the same amount of, minutes and, space, literal space on the floor in terms of what you can do. And that's just it takes time. It's a transition. Kenny Atkinson has done a fantastic job, knowing which guy to tap when. But now you have that dilemma that a lot of teams have. You almost have too many bodies when you've had the kind of season they have. So now you got to make some hard decisions about who plays when and where and who's best together.
Yeah, I think they struggle a little bit because when LeVert came back, Spencer Dinwiddie was out with the thumb injury. And then when Dinwiddie came back, they have an embarrassment of riches at the wing, and they're trying to figure out exactly who plays the best together. And what's interesting is, despite that, this team is among the very best in the clutch in the league. It's a team that wins close games. In games decided by 5 points or less, I think they're 9-3 at home, by way of example. They really take care of business when it's a close game. So the fact that they've been blown out in those three games is something that goes along with that in a weird sort of way, because if the game is close and Kenny Atkinson has them in the hunt, they've done a really good job of finishing it off. But right now, they've just sort of the land of misfit toys at the moment.
D'Angelo pointed out that this next stretch is huge. He said big, big, big. You did, though, say that you think that they could end up still in the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference playoff push. What's going to make the difference when you're in a losing streak like this one, when you've gotten blown out a few times in a row like they have? What changes that?
Well, again, they've got 15 wins in games decided by 5 points or less. And as you come down the stretch and heading into the playoffs, those are the types of games you have to win, because your opponents are equally locked in. Everybody's grinding for every possession. This team's been good when it grinds, and they've been good when the game is close. They've got a D'Angelo Russell who can just go get a shot when he needs to. Spencer Dinwiddie can get a shot when they need him to. So they actually have the types of players that when defenses shrink the floor and make their job a little tougher, they still have guys that can deliver.
It's also been interesting watching, as D'Angelo pointed out, defenses start to adjust to his now all-star caliber game.
Yeah, and I think the trickiest part of most NBA seasons is the stretch run after all-star break. Because if you're a team that's been in the hunt, you had a few days to kind of get your breath and really dial up the energy and the focus you'll need to finish the regular season right. But if you're a team that's kind of been in that gray area for a long time, this is when, let's be honest, some teams kind of go apart and they're kind of looking ahead on the calendar for the summer and not worrying about night after night the focus you need. So this is new territory, for the Nets. Coming out of All-Star break, knowing you have to really turn it on to finish strong, get the spot you want, and prepare yourself for the postseason.
Well, we'll talk about the